Good afternoon, fashion dolls, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to a Style by Stevie Primetime exclusive. My special guest this afternoon that I will be interviewing is a author, radio host, actor, radio personality, and he is here to discuss his book, From $6 an Hour to a Multi-Million Dollar Dream. Definitely tune in as I sit down for my exclusive up-close and personal interview with Cayman Kelly. He is such an icon, and he's been in the entertainment business for a minute now, and I'm so honored to be doing this interview with him. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my special guest is here, Cayman Kelly.
Salutation. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. It is such an honor to be doing this interview with you. You don't know how much of an icon you are. Like, when I tell you, listening to your voice is the most soothing thing, and I'm pretty sure that any woman can relate to that. But you get us through all of these dark times. So we're going to talk about passions, and more importantly, we're going to talk about your New York best-selling book, From $6 an Hour to a $1 Million Dream.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about your novel?
It's more of an autobiography slash inspirational book to help people. And the reason why I wrote it inspires people, to unlock their passions, because all of us are born with something within us that we want to pursue. The only thing is, some people aren't motivated enough, and we need those people around us to motivate. I use my story to help some other people unlock what it is, all the potential that they have inside of it. So $6 an hour to $1 million dream. The $6 an hour part is part of my real story. That's how much I got paid when I first got the major market rate. I paid $6 an hour. So really, it's my truth that I use to motivate other people. And that was the basics of writing the book in the first place.
Okay. And another thing people don't know about you is that you're also the voice for ESPN, NFL Monday Night Football, and you do the voiceover for Bounce TV and so many other of our favorite television programs. So how did you get into journalism?
Well, I got into voiceovers. Actually, it was something that I always wanted to do, but I kind of got into it by accident. And I say accident, but it really wasn't an accident. It was something that I wanted to do that I didn't know how to get into. So it just so happened that my career path led me to BET, do something else. But the people that I met over the years, they would say, "Hey, can you voice this for us?" So I would voice stuff for them, which actually ended up turning into a voiceover career for me. So the first thing that I did was a celebration of gospel radio commercial. So from there, things just started to build. The next thing you know, I was like the voice of their network. And I did that for about 7 or 8 years. And then from there, things are kind of like a snowball effect. So I pick up more and more clients from there. You're about to burn up in age. You're hot.
Yes. He got me sweating over here. That's why I wore this gown today. Okay, go ahead. Yes. Okay, and another thing people don't know about you is that you've done modeling as well too. You've made appearances on the Ricky Lake show. Now, what was that like? Because that show was so iconic, and it's sad that she won't get back into the talk show business.
It's funny because the year when I did the Ricky Lake show, I did a couple of calendars that year. It was like a Gaston VA calendar. I want to say this is like 2 decades ago. It's about 20 years ago. You probably like this. And then we did this other calendar called Ebony something. We shot in St. Thomas. We were in the Virgin Islands. And from that calendar promotion that we were doing, Ricky Lake took interest in it. She was doing a calendar of her own. So we had a lot of guys that was competing against each other. So when I went on, there was probably about 3 or 4 guys that we were competing against. So each one of us, they pulled this lady out the audience and sat her on the chair. And she would ask the first person, like, what do you do for me? I'm hot. We're out here on the beach and blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, I can take some suntan oil and rub it on your shoulders, right? So it was like this whole thing, and then I can take this water and spray you off and cool you off. So when they said, Cayman, what can you do for us? I forget her name now. And I said, well, I got this picnic basket and I can feed you these strawberries and blah, 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 blah. And I sprayed the whipped cream on it like crazy. So of course, I ended up winning that segment. I don't remember what my it been so long, man. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to do that.
Now, Sirius XM, Heart and Soul, like when I tell you, because you play some amazing hit singles, and for those of you who don't know, yeah, stop sweating now. For those of you who don't know, I'm 26. So the music that I'm pretty sure you were out during the era of good music. I just recently did an interview with Q Parker and the guys of 112. Like I mentioned, I was 7 and 5 years old when they came out. And that was a good era of music. So we thank you for giving us the hits in such rough times, something to kind of ease our mind. And that's why I decided to do this interview with you, so that my fans and my followers out there can have like an escape and a getaway from everything that's going on. Like when I tell you your voice is soothing, I don't know if you guys have seen the beginning of Waiting to Exhale, the guy who is announcing the radio when Whitney is driving the car. I thought that was you.
No, that was a guy named Theo. Theo is out in LA. But you know what's funny? I do have a movie that I did the same type of thing, and I was in Barbershop The Next Cut, where I voiced that stuff. So if you go back and look at that movie, like the very beginning, right after the line, you'll hear me on there and all throughout the movie.
Hi, Michelle, and we thank you because like SiriusXM Heart and Soul has gotten me through most of the worst of the roughest days. Like it has been a circus, and I seen one of your videos you did speaking on the debate with Joe Biden, and
yeah, right.
Y'all know.
Yeah, it's a mess. It is a mess, to say the least. So let me ask you this, Miss Stevie. How did you get introduced to the music, you know, like being so young? Was it something that your parents played around the house?
Yes. Not R&B like the Jodeci's and the 112, but my father put me on to, as you can see in the background, I love Diana Ross. So it was Motown. My father grew up in the era of Motown music. So you guys know Martha and the Vandellas and the Marvelettes and so many other great groups. And I know people are like, well, how does she know this? Well, yeah, I literally, like my father taught me about this, all of these artists growing up. And then later on down the line came the Whitneys and the Sade's and the Phyllis Hymans and the Anita Bakers and the TLC's and the Escapes and 112, of course. So I was born in a good era of music, which was the 90s. Yes, 1993. I put my age out there for those of you who are wondering. So I'm 27. So I have a very eclectic soul when it comes to music. And we thank you for having it at Heart and Soul, for putting all of that amazing music and content out there for us.
And I think it's important, you know, because we all have an era that we identify with. And music means so much to our life. I mean, could you actually imagine going through life without music? Probably not, right? I said, could you actually imagine going through your life without music?
Yes. Like, music literally, and I said this in one of my interviews. I did this with Terry Dexter. I did an interview with Terry Dexter, and I was saying, did you know that music is therapy? You guys are literally the therapists, and you are administering the medicine to us, calming our souls and relaxing us in such chaotic times. Like, I have an interview with Mint Condition Friday, one of the guys from Mint Condition, and Arrested Development speech. So it all ties into, this is great eras of music, and they just don't know how much of an impact that their music has on people's lives and how much is relatively speaking to their souls. So that's what I was saying to some of the artists that I've interviewed, like a Kanye Dawson, 112, Mike and Slim, and Q Parker. Absolutely true. Yes, that's what music does to people. Like, it calms them. And like I said, women love your voice. I'm a woman. I love your voice. And I'm pretty sure all the ladies out there, but he's happily married. And let's talk about fatherhood. How do you find the balance? Because you're a father as well too. How do you find the balance of being a father and being able to go in and do your
Well,
show on
I mean,
Sirius
I
XM?
think I found and I talk about it in this book from $6 an hour to $1 million dream, about having that kind of balance, because it's a lot of decisions that you have to make. And my attorney, one time, I was trying to make this job situation fit, but everything doesn't necessarily fit into your life. So this was the most critical time in my house, that I was trying to make this job fit into. It was like, so, you can easily hire somebody to take care of your kids, but I don't want to be that kind of father. And the thing that really settled it for me was that one night I put dinner on the table. My daughter looked at me and she said, "You're the best daddy in the world." And I turned around and just fell to pieces. I just started crying. So it made me realize just how important it is for a father to be in their children's lives. So I had to find some kind of balance, even though you like it's a juggle, because everybody needs time for you. But it really kind of boils down to who are you going to cheat? Because there's only 24 hours in a day. And I remember reading this book years ago called Choosing to Cheat, which I make mention of in the book as well. And basically what it says, out of 24 hours in a day, like who is important to you for you to give that time to? Because when you really think about it, and they gave a lot of examples about CEOs that have all of this money, they travel all the time, but they're never home, and how these kids grow up with all of these scars of not having your parents being around. So now with the decisions that I've made, I'm able to work out of my own studio. Like I juggle my voiceover clients as well as being on the air all day. And with virtual learning, the kids are here with me. I didn't have to have anybody like come in and take care of them. But it's a lot. But like it's rewarding at the same time to watch, how they grow and develop with a father being in their lives like that.
Because I meant to ask you that question. You've mentioned virtual learning, and I know there's a lot of parents out there in the audience watching this interview. Like, how do you find the balance of that? Because I'm pretty sure they'll come to you with questions, or they'll come to your wife with questions. Like, some of my girlfriends will literally come to me and they'll just like, "Girl, it's stressing me out, like online learning." So I know digitally, for them having to do this and versus being in the classroom, I think this is safer. But for the parents, like, how how
Yeah.
how do you manage that with the whole? Ooh, embarrassed.
It is okay.
That is so embarrassing. Oh my God. Like, my question to you was, you having to balance it out with virtual learning versus being in the classroom. And I know your kids will ask you questions like, how will it come back to you? Like, how does
Yeah, I
you feel
mean,
about that?
it's tough, man. I can't lie because I ain't no teacher. Plus, the way things are done differently. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. Like, I can't help you with that work. I don't know none of that stuff. So my wife has been the one that really kind of keeps that in line. She's the organizer that'll look through everybody's assignments and make sure everything is done. I struggle in that way, though. That's why I think it's so important to have somebody who has your back, because everybody has a role to play. And I realize my weaknesses, and where I'm weak, she's strong, so, we can build each other up. And, I mean, we make it do what it do, man. So it's been kind of crazy with the whole virtual learning thing, but, we'd rather be safe than sorry. That's for sure.
Yes, and another question I wanted to ask you is, what are your thoughts on, y'all know where I'm
Oh,
about to go with this. This fool in the White House that is literally trying to send our babies back to school. And V Brown, actor, singer, virtual learning. It has been stressful to some parents, but this is literally the safer way for our babies to be safe. So, what are your thoughts on them trying to reopen everything? And we are now at 210,000 cases of COVID 19.
210,000 deaths, over 7 million cases, though. And a lot of this is because of the leadership that we have. I mean, that's why it's so important. I don't need to go into it. I mean, people have seen it play out. It's like a bad sitcom. You've seen it play out right in front of your face. So if there's no better advice, and that is to vote. And not just for the president, but make sure you make an educated and informed decision about who you're voting for on that ballot. Don't go in there just guessing. educate yourself on what's on that ballot and who's on that ballot. There's like laws in there that you can vote for and amendments as well. So, whatever feeds our lives and what's important to us to stand by, what we should be voting for on that ballot, because leadership is very, very important. And you can see that by none other than this pandemic that we're facing right now. And this is a global problem. It's not just here in the United States of America, but the leadership is important. So if you say stuff out of your mouth like, what if we inject some bleach into our veins? There's somebody out there that actually believes that can transpire. And I was so upset when the doctor just sat on the stage and didn't correct that. You know what I mean? Because we have an obligation to hold up a truth and some kind of values and morals in America. America is one of the greatest countries on the earth. So why are we dealing with stuff like we're dealing with? You know what I mean? So we got to make some very informed decisions, ladies and gentlemen. This is very important. I'm talking to everybody, including myself. We have people that came before us that fought for us to be able to have the right to vote, and we should exercise that right. We have to, because I can't do another 4 years of this. I can't.
Me neither. I know it's been difficult because I know you being in radio and entertainment and having to do a lot of interviews is different, especially for me. I prefer virtually. I know a lot of people that I've requested to interview, they're just like, okay, am I going to have to come to you? I said, no, no. All you have to do is we're going to do it virtually. And I think this is safer. This is the new norm. This is literally like, I work in fashion as well. So you guys know this. I love fashion. And I'm starting to see a lot of designers having to do things virtually. Like one of the designers, Balmain, actually had like the models they were walking out and there were TV screens. Kris Jenner sitting in the audience, and I don't know how they got the celebrities to actually watch the show, but it's like they had all these TV screens stacked up. It was very creative how they did it. So this is literally the new norm. So how difficult has it been for you in the pandemic with you not being able to go out here and, do like the Essence Festival and everything's been pushed back to a
was
later
a
date?
tough spot, because I look forward to, I'm a people person. So I like being out and being able to meet people in person. But, the whole virtual space, there's a lot of, if we was to pull positives out of it, we can pull some positives out of it, because I've been able to spend a lot of time with my family. My boys and I, my two sons and I, we started doing these Instagram lives together. So we've been able to connect on, and make them feel a part of something. So I've been able to use this as valuable teaching lessons on how to work, how to do it. And pay them so they have something to do. They have a little job, have something to look forward to. There's been some positives that have come out of the virtual space, even though we don't necessarily want to be in it. Of course, we're tired of being cooped up in the house. We want to go on vacation, but the joy has been reduced to taking a ride in the car. That's a highlight. That's fun.
And I'm gonna ask you another question too, because I know people have children and they want to know, like, with everything that's going on, because I know parents get tired of the kids being in their hair, aggravating them 24/7 and stuff like that. How important is it that people teach their children the importance of saving money, especially with everything that's going on? And another thing, he's talking about gutting stimulus. Like, what is going on here? We're in the middle of a pandemic, and how are people going to survive? Like, people literally homeless. So what advice would you give to people who have children who, want to go out and work and do things like that, but they still want to be COVID friendly? They still want to be safe and protect themselves.
You mentioned saving, which I think is a very valuable lesson for people to learn, because it's easier to spend money than it is to save. It's much more fun. And I talked about this yesterday on the air, as a matter of fact. So it's funny that you brought this up, and I just had a conversation with somebody else about it. But these are lessons that we should learn early, and it's not really a part of the curriculum in school, but there's ways to actually trick our minds into saving our money. And one thing that I brought up that was interesting was reducing your deductions on your taxes, your exemptions rather, reducing your exemptions on your taxes. That way they take more money out of your check. And it's kind of like giving the government a loan to use your money all year, right? So by the time you get to the end of the year, you get more money back. But the key to that is being financially responsible to put that money where you need to be. So you got this chunk of money that you can put away to your savings, because it's difficult to save. So you start tricking yourself. If you pay something off, act like that money is still going towards that bill, but put it away instead. So that way you never see it. It's kind of like if they take the taxes out of your check automatically, you don't miss it because you never saw it in the first place. So just treat that money like you don't have it. So it's a lot of tricks to actually being able to save money, and teaching kids at an early age puts them in a better position when they age and they get old. And you get to a point, when we get older, it's like trying to play catch up. So the quicker you get it as a young person, you put yourself in a better position for when you get to older years, because you got much more time to start saving. Your nest egg looks a lot better at a younger age.
And to add on to what Cayman just said, make sure you guys are paying your taxes. I mean, some of us don't have the luxuries of paying $750. Y'all know who.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different story. So make sure you guys are paying your taxes, and more importantly, saving for a rainy day. Like my mom gets on me all the time. Like I have to have the current looks that are coming out. Like I always love to change up my hair and makeup and things like that. But she says, no, you got to save. So even me being in my 20s, I have to learn to sort of pull back and save for a rainy day, because like people are literally broke. They are being put out of their homes because of this president. He's not doing anything about it. And people are just losing hope. Like they have no place to turn, nothing to do with their time, but they can tell us to go, find a hobby. Yeah, hobbies take money, honey.
A part of that is being able to stay woke and watch the things around you and the things that we've been told over the years. This is another thing that I touch on in this book, From $6 an Hour to $1 Million Dream, because the things that we hear from generation to generation, things change over the years. So we have to be accepting to change. Years ago, people told you, if you get out of school, you go to college. Once you get out of college, you find you a job, you stay on that job till you retire. Then when you retire, you buy the things that you enjoy. But the objective, we don't know how our lives are going to turn out. We don't know how we're going to. And you're like, I'm cut from the cloth. Like if you live and play at the same time, like what's wrong with that? You might not live to get old. So I really believe, and like I said early in our conversation, we have so much passion and so much desire that's inside of us. And, it makes life that much spicier. Like you like fashion, you doing your fashion thing. I see everything hanging back there. You like music, so you doing your thing. That's what makes you happy, and that's important in life. So like the things that I do, that's important to me. I enjoy what I do, so it makes life that much more spicy. So I don't feel like I'm working, even though I work all day long and juggling this and juggling that. It doesn't feel like work to me. So this is what makes life more enjoyable.
Another thing I want to talk about is passions, because you say enjoying the things. What are some of your passions? I know I already can read your mind, and I probably know what it is. It's your kids, because you are an amazing father and an amazing, talented radio entertainer. Like you are just it. So what are some of your passions? I'm gonna let you answer, but I just had to sum it up.
You mentioned it. You hit it right on the head. My passion. I fell in love with radio when I was 15 years old. So being able to accomplish that has been an ultimate goal of mine. But I never really feel like you arrive. There's more things that you can do. There's always room for improvement. So it's all about reinventing yourself. I wanted to do voiceover, so I found a way to get it done. So like I've had some amazing projects that I've worked on over the years, even with from Bounce TV to TV Land. Cartoon Network, and just recently ESPN, and from ESPN came Monday Night Football. So, it's just, watching things grow, and outside of that, being a great dad or being a great husband. And now, I can add to my belt that I'm an author, a best-selling author now, you know what I mean? So there's always things to do. These are the passions that drive me. I'm going to keep going. I don't never say die. Life is always going to be full of ups and downs. The only time you really flatline is when you die.
And one of your fans said she just
Oh,
got her
that's
book
Miss
today.
Rosie. Shout out to Miss
Hmm.
Rosie in LA. Yes, yeah,
Yes, you guys have to go and purchase this novel. And like we said, you've worked on ESPN, and we see a lot of these players out here fighting for what is right. What advice would you give to people with everything that's going on from the Breonna Taylor verdict? I'm not gonna dig too deep in that unless you want to open that. But we're seeing a lot of things going on with us as black people in this country, like the civil unrest, the Breonna Taylor verdict, like a lot of civil
yeah.
unrest just unfolding. Now, you work on ESPN, you do the
Yep.
voiceovers and everything. So, what are your thoughts on what
I
the
mean,
players are
everybody
doing?
needs to take a stand for what they believe in. And I'm gonna sum it up like this, because I mentioned this too. And everything that you're touching on, I got it in this book just about. It's almost like you done read through it already. So Martin Luther King said something that was profound. He said, if a man has not found something that he would die for, then he isn't fit to live. So we have to stand for our beliefs, and whatever you do, especially those who are celebrities and have a status that people pay attention to you, you should use that for some good, because you've been blessed. And when you've been blessed, you're supposed to pass it on. You don't keep it for yourself. You're not blessed just for you. So we definitely have to fight for what's right. Equality is important. We shouldn't be treated some kind of way just because of the colors of our skin. Bottom line, it's all about character.
And another thing, the fight isn't over for us. The fight is not over for us as black people. And I thank you for speaking out on this. And a few other artists and singers that I've interviewed have spoken out about civil unrest, police brutality. And I wanted to ask you that question because you work on ESPN and we're seeing what happened with Colin Kaepernick and a lot of these football players and basketball players who are speaking out, literally saying my black life matters as well, and they're being denied and booed at games. Like, it's just the
Yeah,
disrespect constantly that we as black people we get on a day-to-day basis, and we see all of these videos going viral of these police
yeah,
officers killing us off each and every day. So we thank you for using your platform. And I know for me, mainly the Breonna Taylor verdict, when I did my interview with Sky Black, and literally he was on his way to an audition, and I spoke to his publicist. I said, "Sure. Do you want me to ask? Do you want me to open the can of worms, or should I do it?" As a journalist, you got to kind of question because I want my guests to feel comfortable. Literally, when they come on my platform, when I'm interviewing them, I want them to feel comfortable. Like, I'm not trying to be Wendy Williams. I'm not that level of messy. I don't like to be messy at all. I'm classy, but I do love a little drama in my fashion and hair. But I asked him this question. I said, "How do you feel about the Breonna Taylor verdict?"
yeah,
And he was upset,
yeah.
like in disbelief. And it clearly goes to
No, I was just
show.
gonna say
Go ahead.
it's very
I'm sorry.
upsetting, but it's almost to the place where you already know what's going to happen, and we shouldn't be in that space. We're like, oh, okay, I know how this is going to pan out. You put all these police officers in the street. It's almost like you're preparing yourself for what's about to happen, and we already knew it. We've seen it play out too many times, and it's unfortunate that I still have to endure some of these things all of these years later. I could tell you stories for days, even from being a teenager, and I've worked all my life. I've never been in trouble with the law. So, for me to get pulled over going to see my grandmother down south, get pulled over by police because I make eye contact with him. He comes to the median and pulls me over, and the first thing out of his mouth when he comes up to the car, is this your car? Not good afternoon, sir. How are you today? Is this your car? And still to deal with that. I'm 48 years old. And still deal with stuff like that. Why can't I have a job where I can afford to buy something I enjoy without having to justify why I purchased it and how I purchased it? Why we got to explain? That's disheartening.
Wow.
And I have to take lessons like this, and like we have to have conversations with our children about, and it's fearful. Like I've literally been reduced to tears having to have conversations with my kids about the stuff that they may endure growing up. We can't remove them from that. We have to be real. And it's unfortunate that you can take a song that Marvin Gaye did in the 60s and stick it right now into the day. It shouldn't fit, but it does.
And I've seen so many other celebrities on their platform speak out about having the talk with their kids on what to do if they have a run-in with the police. Like Debbie Allen has spoken out about it. Willie Moore Jr., I'm pretty sure he's one of your colleagues. He's spoken out about it. Like he actually posted it live where he was sitting and having the conversation on with his boys on what to do if he has an encounter with the police, what to do with them. Like this is a scary talk for parents to be having with their kids. Like our babies are out here being racially profiled, and it happened to Oprah. Oprah went overseas to go buy a purse. They don't care how famous or well known you are. Like they literally will racially profile you. This woman is a multi-millionaire. She is a daytime talk show. Go ahead.
With a B.
Yes, billionaire. My bad. She's a billionaire, and this woman went overseas to go purchase a purse, and they racially profiled her.
Yep, it happens. You know, it's a shame that it does, but it does. And you like, and like you said earlier, people are starting to lose hope. Like, when is this ever going to change? It's been too many years that people have been fighting the same fight for us to go backwards. It's like, okay, we're making some progress. Now we got a black president, and then we follow up with this and end up right back in the same situation again. But we got to protest. We got to protest. We shouldn't have to be spelling out why we should have rights. No, we shouldn't. We're people. It's a humankind.
Again, it's the disrespect that we get on a day-to-day basis, and we're seeing what they're doing right now. You've mentioned voting. Like early voting started down here on the 5th in South Carolina, and people, I was happy to see that black people were literally there early, like in their 30s and in their 40s and 50 and up. They were at the polls literally there. Me and my mom did mail-in ballot. We requested absentee, and we took it back in person. So I'm encouraging you guys as well to get out here and go vote early. Like literally, our democracy is at stake and it's unraveling. There's no telling what 45 has up his sleeve. He's already done been released from Walter Reed Medical and out here just a cesspool of COVID-19 in the White House.
Yep. And stand up there and pull the mask off and get off the helicopter. Highly contagious and put everybody's lives at risk. Going for a joyride, waving out the window. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So I got to go back in here and jump on the air. But I appreciate the conversation.
Excellent conversation, and I thank you so much. It was such an honor to do this. I've had a few embarrassing moments with those we won't remember. So thank you again so much. And tune in to Sirius XM. Heart and soul. Trust me. Relax, ease your mind, kind of take just a tad bit of the focus off a little bit of what's going on. But remember, stay focused, and more importantly, get out and vote. And COVID-19 is not going away. So please make sure you guys wash your hands. Make sure you're wearing your mask and social distancing.
Amen and amen again. And also, as an ending note, be sure to follow me. For those who don't follow me on Instagram at Cayman Kelly, and pick up this book. From $6 an hour to $1 million dream. It's available on Amazon.com. Amazon.com. I'd appreciate it. They made this thing a bestseller in 3 days. I'm so excited.
You are New York best-selling author now. How does it feel?
Oh, yeah.
How does it feel?
It's crazy. It's surreal. Very surreal. I'm just living in the moment. You know, I'm thankful for all the blessings that I added. It ain't no big head over here. I'm excited though. It's really, really a great accomplishment. Yeah.
It was truly, truly an honor to just sit and have a quick conversation with you. But he's got to go back on the air, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you guys tune in to Sirius XM and go purchase From $6 an Hour to $1 Million Dream. Please go and purchase that book. Great nuggets in there, and we've already covered some of the nuggets in this interview. You are so welcome. Such an honor.
Rest of the day.
You too, and you guys please be safe out here. And this will be up on my IG. Make sure you guys go and follow Cayman right here on Instagram as well too. So you guys take care, and I love y'all, and y'all be safe.
Have a good day.